So no sooner than I told you guys that December was going to be full of big videos and we were still going to have fun even without Toy-Sember, December also decided that I was going to come down with the worst flu I've ever had in my life. One solid week where I wasn't even strong enough to get out of bed, and I'm just now getting back to solid food. Hooray for derailed plans! But we're going to get those back on track as much as I can, and part of that is covering a lot of what I got for Toy-Sember for random reviews this month. So we're going to get some really random stuff. For instance, these guys. Now, I showed off one of them on Twitter, and if you saw it, well, thank you for following me on Twitter. But you also probably wondered what it was because I gave absolutely no explanation. Now, I've tried very hard to figure out the actual name for these. I've seen the Chinese letters for it, but I have not actually been able to find a proper translation of the name in order to describe it to you guys. The one that came out the most, and the one that the term that came up the most was Beast Soul. So right now, the title is reflecting something a little bit more generic. If someone in the comments watching this video happens to know an actual toy line name for these, I'd be happy to change the title. And if it has been changed by now, thank you to whoever did that. But yes, we're looking at these for what I'm calling, just for now, Beast Soul figures. This is a toy line that comes out of China, only sold in China, and as you can tell, definitely has a unique aesthetic to it. Pairs of vehicles that do definitely go together, and we're going to be looking at these one pair at a time, and we'll get to what makes them interesting here in a bit. But for now, we're going to just go ahead and take a look at the overall motif of the vehicles. Of course, red is for the main set of the series, and the red cars are very much in the high-speed sports car look. You can see black windshields painted on, and everything else pretty much molded red with some silver touched up for the headlights. Pretty simple in molding design, not a whole lot going on. You can see spots where the tail lights go. You know, you got grooves in here for the doors and a few residual grooves for other windows. Not a whole lot of detail going on, but it's not a bad looking car in the least. I like the spoiler here in the back. And then, of course, you have its counterpart, which is a little bit less sleek and stylish, but still looks like it's got some good speed to it. And it gets a little bit more color with the yellow headlights and a little bit of silver for little tiny speed lines. So again, not a whole lot going on, but that's kind of the point. The interesting thing, and what you might have picked up on by now, is that you've got this big square socket on one, and on the other, a big square that's obviously meant to plug into it. So obviously we are looking at a toy line that is designed to crash together. And of course, you probably figured out something pretty cool happens when they do crash together. So, without further ado, instant transformation and connection. This is what I really dig about this toy line. So one crash later, we go from two sports cars to one big and fairly nasty looking dragon. This is the point of the line, and this is what I like so much. Dragon itself, pretty interesting in design. You've got some pretty standard stuff going on. So of course you've got legs, two arms, and tails going on here in the back with the actual shell of the vehicle. But you also have some interesting things. I like the wings here in the back. They have these like kind of claw-shaped designs to them. That's kind of interesting. I do like that. I also like the fact that you do have a little bit of actual articulation in that they did remember to open and close the jaw of the mouth. There's no real articulation at this point. I will admit, these things are just pure, straight-up gimmick toys. You know, they are something you keep on your desk and just crash together when you are bored once in a while. But it's such a neat gimmick. There's some kind of magic to this. So what happened was, on the inside here, you have a switch for all the gimmicky unlocking on this side, and then you have switches on this side as well. specifically here, or no, those are the latches. So you got those here, those there. Now, interlocking them, of course, connects them and causes one to hit the switches on the other. But what you're not seeing is the magnet, and it's a really strong magnet. These things are really good at pulling each other in and activating that gimmick. It's a really, really clever trick. Not only does the magnet keep them very solid in making it one whole thing, and I love it's so strong it's able to pick up one of the other cars even during its big flip transformations. It's a really, really clever gimmick, and it's a little bit of toy magic just watching it all happen all in one sudden burst like that. Moving on from there, we'll look at another set with a completely different style of transformation. This one, two Humvees, and it's kind of hard to talk about just one without pretty much describing the other because they're pretty much the same. White Humvee with a sleek back look and what appears to be a mohawk sticking out the back rear. That's true on both of them. What's also true on both of them is a severe lack of windshield paint detailing. This is where I kind of feel like they needed a little bit of help. No windshield paint on any side of the toy whatsoever, even though we got plenty of blue along the bottom and some yellow for the headlights in the front. And that's all well and good. It looks fine, and like I said, same's pretty much true of both of them, but both are pretty much the same design. You can tell, of course, different parts for different components and different elements of the transformation, but yeah, you're pretty much looking at the same vehicle. So, while it does keep a strong comparison between the two, it does keep a strong theme between the two, it doesn't really inspire a whole lot of inspiration between the, differentiating them. That's a little unfortunate. I needed this paint. It's just lacking. But hey, it's about the transformation, so we crash. Woo! And we get a Pegasus out of this one. Two Humvees turning into something as majestic as a Pegasus is a little bit of a clash in styles, but hey, it kind of works. So of course, we do have this Pegasus going on. Oh, he's got a horn, so I guess it's an alicorn. I don't know. But he definitely has the right stylings going on. The shaping of the Humvees works pretty well for the size and the shapes of the legs, and you can see all four hoofs that had flipped out from the rears of the vehicle. Do like the design on here. Nice mechanical look to the head of the head itself, as well as the yellow working pretty well for the tail and the mane. It all works pretty well, and again, nice strong connection between the two. Wings a little bit weak, but hey, it's a robotic unicorn, Pegasus, alicorn, whatever you want to call it. So, what more do you expect? I'm surprised it works at all. But that's a really cool one too, and that's another different type. There are a few, there are others that pop up like this, where there's one more that vertically transforms like this, and a few more that, two more that transform vertically like this. And then two more that spring up to four legs like this. So you're looking at two examples of pretty much the standard of the toy line. What we're going to look at last is very much not the standard of the toy line. This guy stands all on his own. Check out the look of this thing. I love how just mean the design is on this Roadster. It is very futuristic, almost Batman-esque style vehicle. Very sharp, very well painted too. Lots of silver and red. I love the blue windshield. All looks really, really fierce. Speaking of fierce, the other vehicle even more so. Big windshield here. If that's even a windshield, it could be the cockpit could be here in the rear. It's kind of hard to tell on this one. But I love the big spikes, and I love all the tiny little hits of red across the black. Again, very thematic between the two. They are definitely a matched set, but unlike the other two, very different stylings to both. It creates a really cool dynamic, really cool vehicles. Definitely among my favorites of the line. Oh, everything about this set is my favorite in the line. Oh, look at that. Misfire. It's rare. Alright, try that again. Ah, beautiful. Talk about visual change. This is the one I showed off on Twitter, and this one is the one that really kind of convinced me to go all in on this toy line because, wow, two awesome cars, really badass Scorpion as a result, and it's such a visual change. It's toy magic is what it is. You take a look, it's a pretty detailed Scorpion. You've got the head in there with those little mandibles along the sides of the head. His little fangs and everything. You can see the eyes are painted in red as well. Very, very, very good looking, very nicely detailed. You also have, of course, the big claws that opened up from the rear of one of the vehicles. Works well. 6 legs here in the back. Well, I believe, God, I can never remember on a proper Scorpion if it's 8 legs and then the 2 arms, or if the 2 arms count as actual appendages. It's a little, you're counting toward the leg count for an arachnid. I can never remember. Someone's gonna grill me for that. I love the Scorpion tail too. That works well. Making a cockpit like the Scorpion Stinger, that's actually a really cool detail. But you can see, just, man, there's so much going on. It's really hard to keep track of that one when you're watching it like all explode out from those 2 vehicles. Now, these themselves are cool. I love the gimmick. I love how they transform. It's an incredibly cool visual trick. Now, if you are in China or you do read Chinese, there is more to these guys. They all come with these little collector cards with various stats and things on them for playing. I have no idea how it plays. I assume you've got different attack stats for different abilities. There, he's got... He's getting ready to getting ready to fire the spirit bomb, and there's that little multiple shot thing they do in Dragon Ball Z all the time that never actually kills anything. But yeah, if you can actually understand it, you can actually play the game itself. And if you take a look, all of them have one tire on them that has some stats. 90, 70, 50. That the rolling process of transforming them randomly selects one with that little arrow molded in, indicating which one it is. And you get little dividers molded into the tire to tell where it actually lands for the arrow. So there is a game to play with these. I don't understand the rules of said game because I don't read Chinese, but there is a little bit more to them than meets the eye. I apologize. No, I don't. So that is, for what I know now, the Beast Soul series in a nutshell. These are my 3 favorites from the toy line. Now, the toy line only consists of 7 figures, so there's 4 more that I could show you guys. If you want to see the others, if you dig these and want to see the rest of the line and what it has in store, leave a like, leave a comment. Just let me know in some way that you want to see the rest, and we'll actually do a part 2 and cover the rest of them. For now, this is an interesting toy line, really hard to come by in the US. I will actually link you to the shop where I found them directly out of China. One warning, well, a couple warnings. One, there are 2 different versions of every one of them on inbox and on card. And the on card ones, as far as I can tell, are smaller and manual transformation. So avoid those. Also, the boxes to these things are ridiculously oversized, meaning you're probably going to pay more in shipping than you're prepared to for something that is about the size overall of about an RID Deluxe, maybe a little bit larger in the case of things like the Scorpion here. But for the most part, these are really interesting toys, and if you're into the visual trick, it's an extremely fun little thing to watch happening in person. So, hope you enjoyed this look at a random Chinese toy line, and who knows, I might just have another one to show you this week.